What is up, guys? Cedar B here, coming at you with another war recap. This was ClashUnited against Predominance, and we came away with the victory, 84 to 82. Total destruction, very, very close on both ends. So 67.57 for us, 96.43% for them. And like I said, we're not going to go over too much of the statistics as far as hit rate is concerned and just random spins like this was, but I think it is worth mentioning that they did end up having 5 10v9 dips. So obviously left 5 Town Hall 9 standing. I think that definitely hurt them in the long run, and we ended up coming away with 3 Town Hall 11 3-stars. And like you see from the title of the video, Town Hall 11 Vomit Attack is very strong. So we're going to be covering 2 of those 3-stars today, and we'll get right into it now. So while we get this started, also 6-pack shoutouts: Alexander, Jason, Orvis, Lix, and G Funk. So good job to you guys. Keep that up. And here we go. So Damon is bringing it in, and the general idea from the Vomit Attack, from what I've seen, you want to cut somewhat of a substantial funnel with your queen and warden or whatever else you may decide to bring with that walk. Obviously bringing in 5 rages, 1 jump. He's coming in very strong. A lot of that is going to be used or most likely planned on to be used with his archer queen. So, you know, I think that's probably a pretty standard spell composition for this attack. And you also notice the Eagle Artillery is within range of the queen, so when she's able to get that CC down, hopefully she'll be able to step up. Does have both heroes there as well, but you know, he is bringing in the rest of his attack. I think he had right around 16 bowlers, something like that. 4 witches I know were in there, and does have wall breakers to get through the wall. Ends up getting a nice clean wall break after being patient, waiting for all that mess to get taken down. Queen, king, all of that nonsense. Jumps into the rest of the core. They don't end up taking it. They end up breaking through that wall, but not going to end up being a bad thing. There's so many troops there at this point. As long as he uses that last rage correctly and, you know, just kind of times everything, he does have enough force to get through the base. So, you know, also, you know, it kind of turned into full force witch slap, just completely wrapping around the base. Kind of looks cool. Pekka is still up, helping the king beat through that wall. Did just bring 1 of those. And yeah, absolute rip at this point. Last Inferno Tower goes down, Tesla goes down. A couple of Wizard Towers aren't going to be doing much, and especially with those healers down there. This base is absolutely ripped. So great job to you, Damon. You know, great execution on this, so keep that up, man. All right, and we'll move on to Alexander, also coming in with the Vomit Attack. So same spell composition: 5 rages, 1 jump spell, 15 bowlers, 3 witches in this composition. And you'll notice how far he gets into this base. And there is this attack and then a Town Hall of 10 attack that I'll just say now. I don't know if it was adjustment for the queen going the wrong way or if it was planned. The reason I say that is both of the attacks are on symmetrical bases, which we're seeing a lot of, obviously, but or have always been around in a sense. But I'm just going to kind of lend it towards the idea of adjustment, just because I think it's a healthy practice to get used to the idea that things aren't always going to go in the direction that you want it to. You know, we've always had an attack just turn south for whatever reason. You know, something pops up, throws your kill squad off. At least for me, I know I've gotten frazzled doing that. Kind of gets in your head and might throw off the whole attack. So that's why I say just kind of maybe getting used to the ideology of, you know, preparing for what could be the worst case scenario, I think is definitely going to lend the biggest benefit. So in this sense, he came in at 3 o'clock. My initial thought is he wanted the queen to walk towards 6 o'clock, and have his force enter at 6 and go the opposite direction. But with how much he got in the base, I'm kind of leaning towards that. He kind of thought she would go up towards 12 o'clock, but who's to say, who's to know? I can only speculate, but that's why I also say, just kind of planning for that, knowing that what you're planning might not go that direction is always a good idea. So moving on with what's going on with the attack, Queen is now working towards 6 o'clock after having that massive force move from 12 towards 9, clearing out, just a path for the Queen to kind of turn tail, turn towards 3 o'clock again, head back down towards 6 o'clock. And the rest of the force is meeting up with the Queen. Warden is still up, about 3 witches, I think, as well. Couple of bowlers, and just an absolutely great example of how to execute this. So good job, Alexander. And we'll move on to Town Hall 10. Pun Big Staff. And I really liked this attack. It was a cold-blooded Gobolalo. He's going to be coming in from 3 o'clock. Also does bring 4 giants. Invest those pretty much solely to just take on the single target Inferno Tower damage while the rest of his kill squad works in. Save that golem a little bit longer. And you'll see that's pretty much what happens just right here. Bowlers come in behind. CC is drawn, Queen as well. And he's sitting pretty good at this point. CC is just about down. Bowlers are still up. Queen is still up. Has the ability left on her, but he's going to have to pop her pretty quickly with those 3 expos on her. And now he's safe to bring in his hogs from 12 o'clock, and he's going to have them work in a counterclockwise rotation, saving 9 hogs, I believe, unless he drops 1 or 2, to flank here at pretty much 10 o'clock on the Archer Tower and Mortar. And that's just going to help ensure that the first deployed set is going to keep kind of wrapping tighter and tighter in towards the core as they work through the base. So, speaking of those hogs, there are a few going through that core, and they do end up triggering a few skeletons, but he does have poison spell in the bag. He'll be able to use that, get both skeleton traps actually, and the king under that. Last couple of defenses are going to go down, and that king is going to be down, or going to be dealt with relatively quickly. And that's something to keep in mind as well with hog attacks, is if the king is going to be left standing, if he's offset, something to that nature, oftentimes, if possible, it's best to come in from the opposite side of where you want your hogs or your loons to be left standing. Hogs most likely, because obviously a king isn't going to do much for air attack, but can hurt your cleanup a little bit. But focusing on hogs, having them end up like they did on this side, base being symmetrical, either way he would have pulled them, definitely helped with cleanup, helped keep them alive, keep him out of the way as long as possible, and did a good job. So great job, Pun Big Staff. And we'll move on to Jeffrey. Using a falcon, and this was the other attack I was talking about. I'm leaning this one towards a little bit more that he wanted it to come in from 3 o'clock, and you'll see a wizard drop down here at 3 o'clock, and he's going to have to make that adjustment, flip the attack around, and bring it in towards 9 o'clock. And it's really hard to anticipate the queen pathing that far into it. Coming down to 10% doesn't seem like a lot, but having her work that far in, once you set her, she's gone, and you don't really know what she's going to do. So waits patiently, does end up dropping a Valk and a couple of wizards over there, so does get a little bit of cleanup value out of that. Tesla gets drawn, but starts his Falcon portion of the raid, or Falcon Bowler portion of the raid, At 9 o'clock, they're able to take that trash out. Bowlers are dropped, king is dropped. Rages them in towards the single target Inferno Tower. CC is going to be drawn also. Heal spell is dropped. 1 rage, 1 heal left in the bag. Skeleton spell as well, so we'll see where he ends up using that. And 10 hogs as well. So everything's looking pretty good. Was able to get that queen funneled in not the direction I think he wanted her to, but does a good job recovering, adapting to what's actually going on with the attack inside the base, and makes the right choice, saving that kill squad portion a little bit later. Brings in the rest of his force and does have 5 hogs left in the bag for 1 Tesla, an Expo, and uses the skeleton spell on that Expo. Heal spell is still in the bag, and he's going to end up swagging that here right at the end. So good job to you, Jeffrey, and we'll go ahead and let this cleanup take through. Alright, and coming back, we're going to be taking a look at Taco. He's using a cold-blooded Gobolalo as well. Or, I'm sorry, not Gobolalo, but cold-blooded Golem Bowler attack, just like Pun Big Staff did. And he's coming in from 6 o'clock, and this base is a very, very old style. I think the original name of it was the Taylor base, and I put a video out on this a very long time ago. I actually posted it because it's how to beat this very common Town Hall 9 base, I believe is the title, something like that. And it is pretty much reminiscent of exactly the attack I was using. And the idea was cold-blooded, have a couple of healers on it, Valkyries in from 6 o'clock or wherever the queen is closest to, and jump inside the core. Hogs for the rest of the 75% of the base, and pretty much the same thing going on in this instance. Cold-blooded gets what's needed into the, what is that bottom right third of the base, and gets a lot of value getting up towards that 3 o'clock section. Actually, is pretty good. Jump spell is placed very well in its deployment of his troops. But you'll see they're still up. Queen is still up, still has her ability. In the last 2 air defenses, pretty much just gave perfect pathing for the rest of his balloons. Saves a skeleton spell, and she ends up getting dropped right there when that defense goes down. So pretty good on that, Taco, and absolutely crushes this base. So like I said, I really got annoyed with this base, seeing this base, this style, and to this day I still love seeing it 3-starred, and with this kind of comeback or wave of symmetrical bases that I think is, that we've seen more and more and more. It's not surprising to see this kind of come back in a war sense, a little bit altered, a little bit different, but the premise is the same, and the attack should work pretty much just the same as well. So, moving on to our last attack, we have Moonlight using the quad golem Goho, and I'm really, really liking the style and the effectiveness of the attack. More of the anti-3 design layouts are becoming very oriented on not having a very dense core, not having anything around it, and it's been like that for a while. But I think from what I've been noticing, we're seeing a lot more wizard towers, archer towers left on the outside, kind of a dead zone-ish type core, or like in this instance, kind of just having a king, or having a hero clan castle and the sweepers inside the core, trying to keep the pathing outside of where you would want something to enter to, so you don't get much value. And I think this attack exploits that very well, because you'll see the first two golems were dropped on the flanking portion on the mortars from about 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Once that funnel was created, dropped 5 wizards on each of those. That section, where the queen and those bowlers are coming out of right now, I think what was 75% of that compartment was down, lending just a perfect funnel for the rest of the kill squad to get through the base. And after having those 2 golems and those wizards cut that funnel, you still have 2 golems in your camp, CC bowlers, king, queen, and maybe even a couple of more wizards, and then your remaining troop space is going to be back-end hogs. You're not going to be investing any spell space into those hogs. They're going in naked. And they're just used for back-end targeting like you did in this instance. So very well executed, very, very powerful attack. And I think practicing with it a little bit and getting used to just kind of the patience of everything working through, you'll definitely see the benefit and be able to see, how this is so powerful against those bases where, it's basically just a ring of defenses that makes up the base. And I know we've all seen it. They can be pretty tricky. The pathing can be pretty tricky, but I think this is a great attack that can exploit that at the Town Hall 9 level. And I hope you guys liked the video, and stick around, give it a like, give it a comment, and until next time, try new things in Cedar Bee.